Psychology isn't just about understanding others, it's about understanding the patterns that drive your own behavior. This channel decodes the hidden psychology behind everyday choices. Today's focus: the specific psychological profile of people who genuinely don't want marriage. This isn't commitment phobia or emotional immaturity. It's a legitimate way of processing relationships, autonomy, and what commitment actually means beyond legal contracts. Whether you relate to this or find it incomprehensible, you're about to gain profound insight. Please subscribe and leave a like to support this content. Then let's dive into the raw truth society doesn't want to acknowledge about marriage and authentic partnership.
In a world where marriage is presented as the ultimate relationship goal, where getting engaged is celebrated as life's pinnacle achievement, and where choosing to remain unmarried is met with everything from pity to accusations of commitment. Phobia, there as a growing group of people who have looked at the institution of marriage with clear eyes and said definitively no. Not maybe someday, not when the right person comes along, just no. They watch friends transform their entire identities through expensive weddings. They observe society's obsession with rings and proposals, and they feel profound relief that they've claimed the right to define commitment on their own terms. If you're watching this, you're either one of these people feeling desperately validated, that your choice is legitimate, or you're someone for whom marriage feels like the natural progression of love, and you genuinely cannot fathom how anyone could reject it. But here's the raw truth nobody wants to acknowledge. Individuals who definitively don't want to get married are commitment phobic or incapable of love. They represent a specific psychological profile that reveals how certain minds process autonomy, legal entanglement, and what it actually means to choose someone without needing the state's permission. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal will completely shatter how you understand commitment, love, and the narratives we're fed about what makes relationships legitimate. You might even discover uncomfortable truths about whether your own desire for marriage is a genuine need or just internalized social programming. Let me ask you something that might feel almost heretical. How much of the desire for marriage is actually about the relationship itself versus the social validation, legal benefits, and the deeply conditioned belief that unmarried partnerships are somehow less real? If you want to get married, have you ever honestly asked yourself whether you're re-seeking that legal contract because it would genuinely enhance your relationship, or because marriage is simply what you've been taught legitimate adult love looks like? These questions sit at the core of understanding why some people reject marriage entirely. To understand this, we first need to recognize the crushing cultural weight surrounding marriage as an institution. This isn't just gentle encouragement. It's lifelong conditioning that positions marriage as the only legitimate form of adult commitment. From childhood, especially for girls, marriage is presented as destiny. Young people are asked asterisk when asterisk they'll get married, not asterisk if asterisk. Dating someone for years without marriage plans raises questions about what's wrong. This creates a matrimonial imperative where your relationship's legitimacy is measured by whether it's moving toward marriage. A decade-long partnership without a ring is often seen as less serious than being married for a year. Society has constructed this elaborate mythology that marriage transforms relationships, as if signing legal documents somehow deepens a love that wasn't deep enough before. This pressure extends into practical realms. Tax benefits, healthcare access, inheritance rights, hospital visitation all systematically favor marriage. Society has created an infrastructure that essentially coerces marriage by disadvantaging those who don't participate. But here is where we need to get brutally honest. People who definitively don't want to get married aren't confused about commitment. They've done something most people who do marry never do. They've rigorously examined what marriage actually is beyond the romantic mythology. And they've concluded with clarity that the institution doesn't align with their values. This clarity emerges from 5 distinct psychological traits. First, a high autonomy orientation and resistance to state involvement. These people possess an exceptionally high need for autonomy, combined with the discomfort at involving the government in their intimate relationships. They recognize that marriage isn't just a personal commitment. It's a legal contract with the state that regulates how your relationship functions. For people with high autonomy needs, this feels fundamentally wrong. Why does their private commitment require government approval? Why should the state have any say in their intimate partnership? They don't need contracts threatening financial penalties to stay faithful. The idea that their relationship is unreal without state sanction feels insulting to their capacity for autonomous commitment. Second, a critical awareness of marriage's historical and legal realities. This trait involves having critically examined marriage's origins and current legal implications, rather than just accepting the romantic mythology. Marriage wasn't created as a celebration of love. It emerged as a property transaction, a mechanism for controlling reproduction and inheritance. For most of history, it had nothing to do with personal fulfillment. Even modern marriage remains a legal contract with serious implications most people don't understand before signing. People who reject marriage have typically researched what they'd actually be signing up for legally. They've examined divorce statistics, which show that roughly half of marriages end, often with devastating financial and emotional consequences. They've concluded that building commitment without legal entanglement allows for a more authentic, freely chosen connection. Third, a redefinition of commitment without legal validation. The third trait is having developed a robust alternative framework for what commitment means. Society has conflated commitment with marriage so thoroughly that many people can't conceive of one without the other. But people who don't want to marry have separated these concepts. They recognize that commitment is about daily choices, consistent behavior, and emotional investment, none of which requires legal documentation. They demonstrate commitment through actions over time, not through signed documents. In fact, they often argue their commitment is more meaningful precisely because it's not legally enforced. When there's no contract making separation financially devastating, every day they choose to stay is a genuine choice, not a reluctant obligation. They are actively choosing their partner continuously, which they view as a deeper commitment. Fourth, a rejection of traditional relationship hierarchies and scripts. This trait is a conscious rejection of the hierarchy that positions marriage as superior to other relationship forms. Society views married relationships as more legitimate, more serious, more committed. People who reject marriage often reject this entire framework. They refuse to accept that their partnership is less real because they chose not to marry. They resist the message that legal status has any correlation with actual relationship quality or longevity. These are often people who question other traditional structures and insist on conscious choice over unconscious conformity. Fifth, practical concerns about legal complications and loss of freedom. The final trait is having carefully considered the practical legal implications of marriage and concluded the costs outweigh the benefits. Marriage creates legal entanglements that can be difficult and expensive to undo. It complicates asset ownership, creates potential for financial devastation through divorce, and creates obligations that can persist even after a relationship ends. For people who value simplicity and autonomy, these complications feel like an unnecessary risk. This isn't about planning for failure. It's about practical risk assessment. They are capable of lifelong commitment, but prefer to structure it in ways that don't create legal vulnerabilities. When you combine these traits, you get a psychological profile that exposes something society desperately wants to deny. Marriage is not necessary for a committed, loving, lasting partnership. The cultural equation of commitment with marriage is a mythology designed to maintain a social institution, not a truth about what relationships need to thrive. Here's the truly raw truth. Many people marry not from genuine desire, but from social pressure, family expectations, or simple default. And research shows that unmarried committed partnerships report relationship satisfaction equal to or higher than marriages, especially when the choice to remain unmarried is conscious. The narrative that unmarried couples are less committed is propaganda. People who choose not to marry aren't avoiding commitment. They're insisting that it be defined by daily choices and authentic connection, rather than legal contracts and social performance. So what does this mean for you? If you want to get married or are married, that's valid. But perhaps examine honestly whether it genuinely serves your relationship or if you did it to satisfy external expectations. And stop judging unmarried partnerships as less legitimate. If you're someone who doesn't want to get married, I hope this provides profound validation. Your choice is legitimate. You're not commitment phobic. Your relationship is real and valid regardless of legal status. You don't owe anyone an explanation for structuring your intimate life on your own terms. The deeper truth is that commitment comes in many forms. Legal marriage is only one option, not the superior one. Some people thrive in marriage. Others thrive in committed partnerships without legal entanglement. The tragedy isn't in choosing or not choosing marriage. It's in following paths unconsciously and judging others whose examined choices differ. Now I want to hear from you. Are you married, partnered, or single? Have you examined why you want or don't want marriage? This is a judgment-free space. Drop your honest thoughts in the comments. I read every one. If this validated your experience or challenged your assumptions, hit that like button. And if you want more raw truth about life choices that challenge social norms, subscribe and hit the bell. Remember, there's no single correct way to structure your intimate life. Whether you're married, unmarried, but committed, or happily single, what matters is conscious choice that genuinely serves you. That's the only commitment worth making. Thanks for watching.